California, a state known for its sunny beaches, Hollywood glamour, and endless opportunities. But on the night of February 2nd, 2025, the Golden State was stained by a crime so senseless and cruel that it left an entire community in mourning. 16-year-old Kaylie Corona, a bright and selfless teenager, was struck and killed in a hit-and-run while trying to save her sister from a violent altercation. But this wasn't just any hit-and-run. Kaylie was 6 months pregnant, and while her life was tragically cut short, her unborn baby was miraculously saved in critical condition. The driver? Her sister's boyfriend, Black Horse Garcia, a man who chose to flee the scene, leaving Kaylie to die and her baby fighting for life. This is the heartbreaking story of Kaylie Corona, a sister's sacrifice, a baby's fight for survival, and a community's quest for justice. Kaylie Corona was born on August 12, 2008 in Riverside, California. She was described by her family as a ray of sunshine, always smiling, always kind, and always putting others before herself. Kaylie loved animals, often volunteering at local shelters, and had a passion for helping others. She was a straight-A student at Riverside High School, where she was actively involved in the debate team and the school choir. But Kaylie's life took an unexpected turn in the fall of 2024 when she discovered she was pregnant. Despite the challenges, she embraced her new reality with courage and determination. She had already chosen a name, Elena, for her baby, and was saving money for baby clothes and a crib. Kaylie's future was bright, but it was tragically stolen from her on the night of February 2, 2025. It was around 11:45 p.m. when Kaylie's younger sister, Mia, got into a heated argument with her boyfriend, Black Horse Garcia, outside their family home. The argument had started earlier that evening, but it quickly escalated into something far more dangerous. Witnesses later described Garcia as visibly agitated, his voice rising as he shouted at Mia. Neighbors could hear the commotion, but no one intervened, until Kaylie stepped in. Kaylie, hearing her sister's cries for help, rushed outside without a second thought. She had always been Mia's protector, the one who stood up for her no matter what. As she approached, Garcia, in a fit of uncontrollable rage, got into his SUV. What happened next was a moment of pure horror. Garcia revved the engine, the headlights blinding Kaylie and Mia as the vehicle lurched forward. Kaylie, realizing the danger, acted on instinct. She pushed Mia out of the way with all her strength, sacrificing herself to save her sister. The SUV struck Kaylie with such force that she was thrown nearly 50 feet into a ditch. Garcia didn't stop. He didn't slow down. He didn't even hesitate. Instead, he sped away, leaving Kaylie lying in the ditch, bleeding and unconscious. Mia, in shock and disbelief, called 911, screaming for help. But by the time emergency responders arrived, it was too late for Kaylie. She was pronounced dead at the scene. However, in a miraculous twist, paramedics were able to save her unborn baby, who was delivered via emergency C-section and rushed to the hospital in critical condition.
And John, this is just a terrible story. This teen mom was going to be giving birth to her first child, and according to a GoFundMe page set up by her family, she had planned on naming her child Elena. Her family says she was loving and caring, and the void that she leaves behind is just immeasurable.
The news of Kaylie's death and the miraculous survival of her baby spread quickly, sending shockwaves through the community. How could someone hit a young girl and just drive away? Who was behind the wheel, and why did he flee? These were the questions on everyone's minds as the investigation began. Investigators quickly got to work scouring the scene for clues. They found pieces of the vehicle that had struck Kaylie, including fragments of the headlight and bumper. These pieces would prove crucial in identifying the car and the driver. But the real breakthrough came when Mia identified the driver as her boyfriend, Black Horse Garcia. Using the witness description and the evidence collected at the scene, police were able to narrow down the search to Garcia's dark-colored SUV. But the real challenge was finding the driver. The answer came just hours later, when police arrested 19-year-old Black Horse Garcia. Garcia, a local man with a history of traffic violations, was found hiding at a friend's house in a nearby town. The friend, unaware of the severity of the situation, had allowed Garcia to stay the night. But when police arrived, Garcia's demeanor was anything but calm. He was visibly shaken, his hands trembling as officers cuffed him and read him his rights. His SUV parked outside the friend's house was a dead giveaway. The front end was smashed, the headlight shattered, and pieces of the bumper were missing, exactly like the fragments found at the scene. Investigators also discovered bloodstains on the hood and windshield, a grim reminder of the life he had taken. Inside the vehicle, they found a half-empty bottle of alcohol and a receipt from a gas station just miles from the crime scene. The receipt was time-stamped just minutes after the hit and run, placing Garcia at the scene of the crime. During questioning, Garcia initially denied any involvement in the incident, but as the evidence piled up, his story began to unravel. He claimed he hadn't realized he'd hit someone, that he thought he'd struck an animal, but investigators weren't buying it. The force of the impact, the damage to his vehicle, and the fact that Kaylie's body was thrown so far all pointed to one conclusion. Garcia knew exactly what he'd done. Garcia was charged with multiple offenses including vehicular manslaughter, hit and run, and the unlawful death of an unborn child. Kaylie's family and friends wants justice for Kaylie and her baby, and they are determined to see Garcia held accountable for his actions. Kaylie's mother said, "Kaylie was my baby. She had her whole life ahead of her. She didn't deserve this. She didn't deserve to be taken from us in such a cruel, senseless way." As the trial progressed, more details emerged about Garcia's actions that night. Text messages revealed that he had been drinking before getting behind the wheel. Witnesses testified that he had been speeding and swerving erratically. And then, the final blow. Security footage from a nearby gas station showed Garcia stopping to inspect the damage to his vehicle just minutes after the hit and run. He knew what he'd done and he chose to run anyway. Isaac Black Horse Garcia has not entered a plea, according to court records, and his attorney did not immediately respond to requests for comment. He is being held without bail and is scheduled to appear back in court on April 14th. Detectives believe Black Horse Garcia may have contacted and sexually abused other minors. Today, Kaylie Corona is remembered as a bright, loving young woman who had her whole life ahead of her. Her family has established a scholarship in her name to help other young mothers pursue their dreams. And while her story is one of tragedy, it's also a reminder of the importance of accountability and the devastating consequences of reckless decisions. Kaylie's story is a heartbreaking reminder of how fragile life can be. It's a call to action for all of us to make better choices, to be more aware of the consequences of our actions, and to hold ourselves accountable for the lives we impact. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about one life lost. It's about the ripple effect that loss has on an entire community. Rest in peace, Kaylie. You will never be forgotten.